Alright, Elite Force Wildcard. This is the first time shooting this, so we'll see how this goes. If you want to be wildly inaccurate, this is a gun for you. And welcome back to B&E Productions. I'm Ethan, and here we are with another Airsoft review. So today we are going to be taking a look at the Elite Force Wildcard. I got this revolver a couple months ago. I've been playing around with it. Really, I wanted it for a movie prop, and we'll see how well that works. So let's do what we normally do, just work our way through the gun, tell you everything about it, or most things about it, and then kind of my thoughts and opinions on it. So starting off with the front, we have our orange tip here. Haven't removed it yet, planning on doing so pretty soon here though. So the way I'm thinking, just take a pair of pliers, maybe heat this up a little if I have to, and it should come right off. We have our we have our front sight here in the front. It's made out of plastic and it's kind of like clamped around the barrel. So I'm not quite sure why they didn't just go with a metal one here. There are extra plastic front sights in the box, which is pretty nice, but I kind of wish they just went with metal there. Kind of working our way down the gun. We have the Elite Force giant wall of white text that I hate. So we have that going on here again. But this time they kind of subdued it to kind of match the finish of the gun, I guess. But either way, I hate that. On the other side here, we have Wildcard. So just stating the name of the gun, which is pretty cool there. So no qualms about that. As we continue making our way down, I mean, this thing's pretty solid. I don't feel like this is going to break or fall apart or anything, which is pretty cool. There's not too much to really talk about. We have our barrel, our cylinder, and hammer, and the grip, and the trigger. That's really about it. So pretty quick and easy here, but yeah, the cylinder is pretty nice. If you're not familiar with how a single action army works, so typically on real models you have 4 levels. This one kind of has 4. So we have our first stage, which this allows you to go ahead and open and rotate the cylinder, and then we have our third, which it doesn't lock back. It just lets you know that you're about to get there. And then finally the fourth. Like I said, in real single action armies, especially the Colt ones, they are going to have the 4 stages. Since this is just an Airsoft one, just 3. So once we get to this furthest most point to the rear, that is when you are actually able to fire. So when you pull the trigger, bam, and then pulling the hammer back, that is what spins the cylinder, and then you are good to go once you get it back to this stage. To uncock it, you can just go ahead and press the trigger and then hold the hammer down and then release it. I talked about reloading for a second there, so let's go ahead and talk about that. So put it to half cock, you'll be able to flip this part down, which reveals the cylinder, and then you can go ahead and just rotate your shells out. Speaking of shells here, you do get 12 in the box. 6 will be already in the gun, and then you'll have 6 in a plastic bag. These things are pretty cool. The way you load them is you'll put a BB just in the back here, and then you'll actually load it, into the revolver. So that is actually pretty cool. Kind of have that realism effect there, I suppose. So for reloading this quickly, I would either just have like some loose BBs and just open the cylinder and just put them in. Or if you want to be really cool about it, you know, do the whole reload and have your extra shell somewhere. Either way works. And then also, so in the real gun, like this lever here is you'll be able to pull it down, and then that can help eject the shell if it gets stuck. Typically that's used, you know, in the real guns because, you know, powders and, you know, the mini explosion that comes out. Sometimes the casings would get stuck. These do not. These fall straight out. So more so that's mainly for looks. But it is there. Grips are nice. I like the spade symbol on there. It's flat black and then just that little emblem on both sides, which I actually quite enjoy. I think that's a nice touch there. So this is a CO2 revolver, and the way that they did it is that it is in the grip, and they have a little cutout for you to just put your finger, and then you're able to remove it. And I actually love what they did here is that they have the Allen key built into the grip itself, so that way you don't need to carry a spare Allen key. You can just go ahead, drop your CO2 in, and you're able to adjust it. This is not a standard Allen key that is used on like the actual like other CO2 magazines. It is different. It's a little bit smaller. So just so you know there, as I throw that down, very easy to put back in. Just go ahead and clicks into place. So pretty nice, innovative thing there. Let's talk about the trigger. Trigger is pretty nice and positive. So we'll go ahead. So that's at the full cock. It's pretty nice, pretty positive, nothing to complain about. I mean, it's a single action gun. The sights are okay. Like this gun is modeled after a gun that is over a century old, so yeah, the sights aren't the greatest. And even if they were great, they won't be spot on. This gun is pretty inconsistent. I can go ahead and show a clip here of the BBs just going everywhere. So now that you've seen kind of how inconsistent the accuracy is on this gun, one thing I do want to show you is it does have a safety. So, you know, white dot is you can't pull the trigger, and it locks the hammer in place. And then you can go ahead and flip that forward, and it shows red, and you'll be able to mess with the gun. Yeah, so my original intention for buying this gun was to film with it, and from the videos that you have seen of my particular wild card, I'm not exactly sure if other people's wild cards are like this, but mine is just really inconsistent. It's not very accurate, and then sometimes my CO2 cartridges, like they'll just like on that first shot just sound dumb. I'm not sure if anyone else has that happen to them or not, but that is what's happening to me. So trying to film with this gun might be kind of a pain, but that's just the nature of it, I guess. Talking about the frame here, we also have our serial number and then Cal 6mm BB. So you do have that right here as well. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty simple gun. For what it is, it's actually pretty expensive. So I kind of expected better performance out of it. I mean, I know it is modeled after a really old gun, but I was kind of disappointed with the performance. You can go ahead and show the Chrono. 101, 205, 192, 218. So the Chrono, like, it's consistent. The CO2 consumption is great. I think I was able to get maybe 60 to 80 shots with this before having to change it. So that is quite a lot, which is nice. Low FPS, if you wanted to use this indoors, you totally can. But for me, just the accuracy of it and everything else is just kind of not really there. I mean, compared to like a 1911 or CZ or whatever, those are going to be way better suited. Now, if you're playing like a cowboy game or like an old school, like lever actions or revolvers or shotguns only, that would be the game for this. Or maybe like a Omega game or something along those lines. This would be way better suited for those kind of niche, like kind of, hey, bring out your cool guns that you may not think be great, as compared to like AEGs and other guns. This is probably the gun for those kind of games. But for kind of like just going out on the field and playing with it, it's going to be a challenge. So just keep those in mind. I think it's cool. The price is pretty high for me, especially for the performance that I got out of it. Now, this is just my particular gun, so if you get a wild card, it may be different, it may be way better, could be worse, I don't know. But this is just my experiences with the wild card. Like I said, I do think it's definitely cool, but for the price, it's pretty expensive. And then for the performance out of it, like I understand that the single actions weren't like the most accurate gun, and this is Airsoft, like it's a 6mm plastic BB, anything can throw those off. But at the ranges I was shooting at with like little wind, it was just like kind of disappointing. So these are my thoughts on the Elite Force Wildcard. If you have any questions about it, just let me know in the comments. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and have a great rest of your day.